This is the story about the time I went to Emporia, Kansas to race 206 miles on gravel roads in a race called Unbound. Unbound is the premier gravel race that attracts pros and amateurs and even nobodies like myself from all over the world. That's what I did. I raced in Unbound. How did I do it? I started riding in the spring of 2020. Yes, I'm a COVID baby cyclist. I'm also a stickler to eat a plant-based diet. Finally, and perhaps the most important thing that explains how I raced 206 miles is the right mindset. The amount of times I've heard people say that I'm mentally strong for completing this race is insane. It seems like everyone saw this year as an exceptionally challenging year because of all the weather and mud. But this was my first Unbound, and it was my first time to ride more than 90 miles on gravel roads, so my expectations were way off compared to everybody else who had already done this race before. And I'm going to briefly share why I believe that I had an unfair advantage in this race, and it's because I'm an eternal optimist. Y'all are so awesome. That was incredible. Thank y'all.
It's raining, cats and dogs, and there's no sign of relief until 7 o'clock, which means the terrain's gonna be muddy.
I'm not gonna drink a Coke tomorrow.
You're gonna miss out.
Well, on what? Feeling like crap?
No. Feeling like Lance Armstrong.
My goals for this race are as follows. Number one, I want to complete the 206 miles before 8:45 p.m. That's called beating the sun. Priority number two, I get to spend the whole day on the bicycle, so I want to have a lot of fun. And then priority number three is finishing. I want to finish. It's the third priority. Hey, good morning. I slept amazing from like 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Or you can self-select where you want to be based off hours. So I think I'm going to complete between 14 and 16. So I'm between 14 and 16 in the 15-hour range. We begin, and then there's a trend. So we'll begin again. Unfair advantage number one, the mud. From mile 11 to 14, we were walking because the mud was too thick to ride through. But here's the upside. I wore flat shoes, so I could just walk through it. Another upside, when I got back on my bicycle after mile 14, I've never been happier to push those pedals. And later in the race, when it happened again, mile 175, we had another, mile of walking, but I was mentally ready for it. And here's the final upside. I got to make a ton of jokes. I'm a cyclist, not a hiker. This is the only thing separating me between me and first place. Dude, I was up there with Keegan a minute ago, and then look where I am now.
Are you going flat pedal?
Yeah, bro. I'm new to all this cycling stuff, so it's safer for everybody for me to be on flats. How amazing would it be if it's like, hey, we're off course by a mile? Not amazing. I've been lucky for the most part about this mud buildup, but I'm gonna try to treat it like buffalo sauce, like eating buffalo wings. I'm just gonna do a massive cleanup at the end. Upside, coming up, okay, yeah. The only downside is I didn't train to walk during this race, like walk through mud or even walk at all, so walking was not fun.
Yeah, I get this wrist off too, bro. Yeah, I guess you're the man. It's the whole bottle, if you don't mind. Yeah, the sides. This one too. Yeah. Gavin, I'll eat my life. Yeah. And my non-sticky hit. Oh. You guys are doing amazing. Get yourself back out there. Thank you.
Unfair advantage number 2. It stormed so hard for like 30 minutes when I was about 100 miles in. But here's the upside. The rain cooled me down quickly. It cleaned all the mud and cow poop off of me and the bike, and it was the first time to ride through a storm ever. And the headwind was gone too afterwards, which was awesome. But after the storm ended, I knew it wasn't going to happen again, and I was about 110 miles in at that point, which was about 3:30, and something incredible happened to me that I've never experienced before. I was reborn on the bicycle. The only way I can explain it is to say that new life ran through me as if I were invincible. I even told the people that I was riding with, like, I have this new fear that this has become so manageable and so doable that everybody's going to be like, yeah, bro, of course you finished. It was so easy. Everybody thought it was easy. Like the time the rain hit, like halfway through, made the race so simple. That's what I was afraid people were going to start saying, because that's how good I was feeling. So after 110 miles in, I had zero doubt that I'd finish. No doubt at all. Short of my bike getting swallowed up by the mud or me going to the hospital. So I'm hiking the bike, and the moon is beautiful, but this mud sucks. But it's not supposed to be as long as the last one, which is really good because that was a nightmare and this is a dream. This is what riding bikes is all about: walking them and having fun. The time of your life, and I owe it all to you. Remember that one time all these strangers just walked through this beautiful, terrible muddy field? One of my favorite cyclists always says to think about future you. And that's the vegan cyclist who says that. When I thought about future me during the race, I did not like the idea of saying, yeah, man, I worked my tail off and it was really bad conditions. And so 150 miles is a real accomplishment for me. And then people being like, man, dude, you did so many miles, you did 150 and just really proud of you. When in reality, like everybody would know I didn't finish. I did not like the idea of future me not finishing this. I've worked too hard. I've thought too much about it. I've trained way too hard to not finish this. And so future me had no option but to finish. And honestly, I wish this video could end with these beautiful shots of me looking like I'm about to pass out, completely covered in mud, with no hope in my eyes, and crossing the finish line as a true underdog story that would inspire others. But that's not my story, nor even an option, because I didn't have a film crew. Just 3 years ago, I could barely ride 3 miles on a bicycle. Which brings me to say this about Unbound. If a nobody like me can complete this race, anybody can do it. There are 0 things special about my genetics, 0 things that give me the upper hand physically. I trained intentionally for 5 months to prepare for this race, made dietary decisions in preparation for this race, and what I discovered is that racing Unbound was the most fun I've ever had on a bicycle.
Freezing cold.
What is one thing I'm going to do differently next year? I'm going to cross that finish line before the sun goes down, pending I get into the race.
They're going to be so pissed.